Good morning, class. All right, this is probably going to be my official last video that I'm going to be making for you guys this year. So it's kind of bittersweet. Okay, let's go over the study. Let's go over the study guide. All right, so this first question, it says, which of these statements describe the correct method to solve this equation? Okay, so here to solve this equation, the first thing that we need to do is move this x from the bottom. So this is division, so that means I'm going to multiply both sides. So we got, sorry. So I'm going to multiply both sides by x. This is division. The opposite of division is multiplication. So when I multiply this side by x as well, I get negative 5x is equal to, this is gone, and I'm left with x squared plus 6, okay? So now I know that this is going to be a quadratic function because my highest degree is 2. I have a x with 2 or variable with that's squared. So this is a quadratic function. So I'm going to move all of this to the same side. So I'm going to add 5x to this side, so that now I have either the y is equal to 2x plus 5x plus, what is that, 6? And then I could solve by setting this equal to 0. Okay, but all they wanted to know was what to do first. So the answer choices is multiply by x on both sides and set the equation equal to 0, then solve by factoring. That is what you do. Okay, not divide by x, no. Not cancel out x, no. Not cancel out x, no. Okay. All right, number 2, it says that the height in meters of the projectile involves the object's initial height, okay, upward velocity, and acceleration. Okay, so in all of these, your initial height is the c, okay? That's the starting amount. Your upward velocity is that a, okay? And the acceleration is b. Okay, so upward velocity is a, acceleration or speed is your b part of your quadratic function, a x squared plus b x plus c, okay? All right, so it's asking you, this is the equation right here, and it says models the number of meters y a toy rocket is above the ground t seconds after being launched at 7.4, okay? So here, what does that represent? Well, the 7.4 represents the initial height, the starting amount, okay? It says Marcus has a square-shaped garden, okay? That means all the sides are equal in a square, all right? Well, I gotta make that look more like a square. And the area, this area in here, is 4 parentheses x squared minus y squared, okay? If the garden has 4 equal parts, that means it's divided into 4 equal parts. What is the area of each of these? So I'm going to divide this expression. I'm going to divide this expression by 4. When you divide this expression by 4, that just gets rid of this. 4 divided by 4 is going to give me 1. So I'm just left with this, the x squared minus the y squared, okay? So that's going to be b. All right, it says the function a is equal to s to the second power is modeled for the area A for the square with both side lengths of s. Okay, so this is the formula for area of a square. It's asking you which of the following is another way to write this rule. Okay, look. This is saying 2 times s is not the same as saying s to the second power. Squaring a is not going to be the same as s to the second power, okay? This right here is another way to write it because a of s, just like this, if this was x right here, is the same as just saying the a. You're just writing this in function notation. So this would be this would be the same. If you use x right here, there's no x in the equation. So you don't want to use D because there's no x in that equation, okay? All right, here, number 5, it says a ball is thrown into the air, okay? So it's starting, the ball is starting height is at 0, so it's thrown into the air. It says the graph below shows the height of the ball in feet to respect to the time in seconds. So, of course, X is time in seconds, and Y is the height. It says, which of the following statements is not true, okay? Not the truth. All right, it says, the ball is in the air for 8 seconds, okay? The ball is in the air for 8 seconds because it hits the ground at that 8 seconds point. So, a total of 8 seconds, that ball is in the air, okay? So, that's true. The ball is at the same height in 3 seconds as 5 seconds. So let's go to 3 seconds and go up here. That's it. This is the height that it's at 3 seconds. And let's go to, 5 seconds? 5 seconds is right here. So look, they are at the same height in 5 seconds. Okay, so that's true. The ball reaches its maximum height at 40. 40 is right here. The maximum height is up here, okay? So it does not reach its maximum height at 40. So this is the one that's not true. The ball takes the same amount of time to go up as down. Yeah, okay. The halfway point is at 4. So it takes it 4 to go up and then 4 seconds to go down because this is 4 on this side and this is 4 on this side. So yes, this is also true. Number 6, the domain. Domain is your x values. Because you have arrows at the end of this line, you can't see it here, but this line, this parabola is going to just keep increasing and going up. So because it's infinitely going in this direction and keep getting wider, your x values are going to be all real numbers. All right. Number 7, which quadratic function has x-intercepts? That means it crosses the x-axis at those 2 locations. So here it crosses the x, at this parabola crosses right here at -4 and 0. And here it crosses at 2 and 0. So, wow, A is our answer. We don't have to do much there at all. All right. That's a lot of paper. Okay. For this one, it's saying, a toy rocket is launched from the roof of a building. Okay, the graph below shows the height of the rocket x seconds. So x is seconds, of course. X is always the time in most cases, I should say. What is the average rate of change of the height of the rocket during the descent? Okay, so what you're looking for is, remember I told you that your A is your upward velocity, okay? And since the ball is being thrown up, that upward velocity is -16. Your B is what you're really looking for because that's the speed. And your C is your initial or your starting amount, which in this case is going to be, your starting amount is right here at 48. So what you're looking for is your B. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use the axis of symmetry, -b over 2a, to figure out what B is, okay? I know that my axis of symmetry is this line right here, which is going through a +1. So x is equal to 1. So I'm going to put 1 here, negative, I don't know what B is, divided by 2 times a is -16. So let's solve for B. So on the bottom of this right here fraction, I'm going to get -32. To get 32, to get B by itself, I'm going to multiply both sides by -32. So when I multiply both sides by a -32, I get -32. Okay. And it should be -b here, but listen, if I want to get B completely by itself, so my answer for B is going to be 32, but in this case, in this case, we don't have to worry about negative or positive. Our answer here is still going to be the negative 32. Okay. For number 9, a theater sells T tickets at a price of P dollars. The theater conducts a survey and predicts that if the price of each ticket is changed by $2, okay, so the price is changed by $2, that's positive 2, the number of tickets sold will change by 15, okay? All right, so it says if N is the number of times the theater changes the ticket price by $2, okay, what is the expression is this. This is the expression. Can be represented by the theater total revenue. So this is the total revenue in dollars. In this expression, what does this right here mean? T minus 15N. So does it represent the number of tickets the theater sells if the ticket price is increased by $2? No, that's what this part of it represents, the increase by $2. The number of tickets the theater will sell if the tickets is increased by 2N? No, we just said it's really 2, not the 2N, okay? Then it says the number of tickets the theater will sell if the ticket price is decreased by $15, and that's going to be your answer here. It's going to be decreased by $15 because it's a minus 15 there. We're not going to say decrease by 15N. We're just going to say decrease by $15, okay? All right, here it says for number 10, so my answer here, sorry, C. For number 10, the zeros, which is where the quadratic function crosses, it crosses the x-axis, okay? All right, this x-axis. It crosses the x-axis right here at +1 and +7, okay? It says to be factored. So one of these is in factored form. Remember, when I solve one of these, I should get a +1 and a +7. Well, if I solve A, I set it both equal to 0. When I set it equal to 0 here, I'm going to get x is equal to a +1, and I'm going to get x is equal to a -7 here. But I need both of them to be positive, okay? If I solve for this one, x plus 1 is equal to 0, and x minus 7 is equal to 0. For here, I'm going to get x is equal to a -1, and here I'm going to get x is equal to a +7. Sorry. So that's not it. So when I do this one, x plus 1 is equal to 0. That's going to give me x is equal to a -1. And x plus 7, that's going to give me x is equal to a -7. So that's not it. When I solve the last one, and I set both factors equal to 0, that's going to give me x is equal to a +1, and this is going to give me x is equal to a +7. So D is going to be my answer there, okay? All right, number 11. A square has sides of, remember, a square is where all the sides are congruent, okay? So each of the sides are this, all right? It says if the rectangle is made up of 3 of these, so you're going to put 3 of these side by side. So this is going to be 2x plus 3. This is going to be 2x plus 3. This is going to be 2x plus 3 here, 2x plus 3 here, 2x plus 3 here, 2x plus 3 here to make a rectangle. So that means the perimeter is adding all these sides together. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's going to be 8 sides added together. 8 of these added together, sorry. So that's going to be 8 times 2x plus 3. So I'm going to multiply, and that gives me 16x, and this gives me plus 24. So my answer here is going to be D. All right. So that was the calculator inactive section. Calculator active section. So we can use the calculator on this section. This one, it says Josh is making a rectangular shaped picture frame. So a rectangle is this. It says the length, so that's L, of the frame is 5 more, so that's plus twice the width. So that's 2 times W. W represents the width. Okay, what is the equation? So, of course, this is width, and it doesn't tell you what width is equal to, so you're just going to say W. Area of a rectangle is length times width. So this is what I substitute for length. So that's going to be 5 plus 2W. And this is what I substitute for width. So that's going to be times W. So now I'm going to use the distributive property. I'm going to multiply this W times both numbers in the parentheses. So I get 5 times W is 5W. Then I get W times 2W, which is going to be 2W to the second power. So I can write this and put this term first, which is 2W squared plus just the 5W. So this is the expression that I would be looking for. So that is going to be this last one. Okay. All right. Let's look for this. They give you 2 functions. Okay. This is one, and this is the other one. Okay. And it says what is equivalent form of. So they adding these 2 together. So let's add them together. So we have 2x squared plus 3x minus 1. And you want to add this to 2 times x minus 2 squared. Okay, so look, I need to simplify this first and then combine all the terms that are alike. So exponents come before multiplication, so I need to multiply this times itself. So that looks like this, and I'm going to use a bracket, and I'm going to multiply this times itself. I'm going to multiply this times itself first, okay? And do this part first. So when I do that, that's distributive property twice. So I could use full, like one of those videos talked about, but I'm going to use distributive property twice. So that's going to be this x times this, x minus 2. And that's going to be negative 2 times x minus 2. Okay? Bring everything down. All right? Simplifying this side first. So when I distribute here, this is going to give me x times x, which is x squared. X times negative 2 is negative 2x. All right? Do the same thing here. All right? This is going to give me negative 2x. Negative times a negative is a positive 4. Okay? Bring this 2 down. Okay? Simplify what's in the parentheses. So this is going to give me, I can combine these 2 terms together. So that's going to give me plus a negative. So this is negative, This is x squared minus 4x plus 4, okay? All right, so now we want to multiply the 2 times all of the numbers there. So this is going to be 2x squared minus 8x plus 8, okay? Now bring the plus sign in the middle down. This is already simplified, so I'm just going to bring it down. 2x squared plus 3x minus 1. So I simplified this first and just bring this down. Now I'm going to combine like terms, okay? So this term has the same variable and exponent as attached to this one, so I'm going to add the coefficients, and that's 4x to the second. These are like terms, so that's going to give me negative 5x. And these are like terms here, so that's going to give me a positive 7. So the answer for this one is going to be A. Okay? All right. Okay, let's look at this one. A ball is thrown upward velocity. That's your A. So A is negative 16, upward velocity. There it is right there. from a height. This is the starting amount of 60 from the ground, so that's going to be my C. They give you the speed, which is B. They give you the rate of change for this quadratic function, which is going to be B there. Okay, find the time. So that means find T or find X in seconds when the ball is again at 60 feet. So Y, or the height, is 60, H, Y, same thing, okay? Let me just keep it. When Y is 60, what is X? So this, you do have to use the calculator for this. So you're gonna type in negative, use the negative button, 16, which again is the upward velocity. It's negative because it's the upside up. It's a downward U, because when you throw a ball in the air, what comes up must come down. So that's X squared. And you always use negative 16 for those situations. And you got plus 16X plus 60. So you type in the equation. Now you want to look at your table. Okay, let's do table setup. If I do table setup, I did X. The reason, so I could just type in these values if I wanted to, or I can just go back to auto and look at my table. Yeah, table set. So let's start at 0 and view the table again. So when I start at 0, look at what happens. At 0, at 1 second, it goes back to 60 again. So it was very quick. So in 1 second, it goes back to 60 again. So your answer is going to be 1. All right, number 15, we're not going to do that one. Number 16, you're just combining like terms there. You do that. All right, number 17, it says a system of equations is shown below. It says, what is the value of X for the solution? So here, when are they equal? When are the points going to be the same? You can type it in and figure out where they cross, or you can just set them equal to each other. Set this equal to that to see when they're equal to each other or when they cross. So I'm going to set this equation equal to the first equation, okay? So I'm going to move all the numbers, all the terms to this side and then factor it and solve. So I'm going to move positive 9x by subtracting 9x on both sides. So that gives me 5 is equal to 2x squared minus 9x. I'm going to move 5 over here by subtracting 5 now. So this gives me 0, which is what I need to solve. Okay. So now I can factor and solve that. In order to factor this trinomial, I have to, since this first number is greater than 1, I have to multiply the first and the last number together. That gives me a negative 10. So I'm going to factor negative 10 to see if I can get a middle number, a sum of negative 9. So what two factors can be multiplied together to give me a negative 10, but when I add them together, I get a negative 9. And that's going to be negative 10 and positive 1. Okay, when I add negative 10 plus a positive 1 together, that gives me a negative 9. So I'm going to rewrite. Oops, sorry, y'all. Your teacher's tripping. I'm going to rewrite this 2x squared, and in the middle, I'm going to put the negative 10x, then plus 1x minus 5. Okay? Now I'm going to factor by grouping. So I'm going to factor these two and then these two. So when our GCF here is going to be, let's do 2x. Okay, that's the GCF. So what's left is just the x and minus 5. GCF here is 1, okay? 1, so this is plus 1, and what's left is x minus 5. These are the same. Oh, I forgot to put 1. Guys, I'm tripping. Put 1, Miss Reyes. 1. Okay, so since these two terms are being multiplied by the same group of numbers, then I can put these two in a parentheses together. That's x, 2x plus 1. And beside it, I can put the binomial that they're both being multiplied by. And that's factoring. So now I want to figure out what the solutions are. So set each of these equal to 0. So that's 2x plus 1 is equal to 0. And then x minus 5 is equal to 0. And that is going to give me negative 1/2 here. Add 5 on both sides. This is going to give me positive 5 there. So I'm looking for one of those answers. Okay, only one of them is there. That's the negative 1/2. Okay, all right. Okay, so let's factor number 18. You always find GCF first. The GCF here is 2. So I'm going to take out a 2. That gives me x squared left minus 5x minus 24. Okay? So now I'm going to factor what's in the parentheses. All right, since this term right here is a 1, I'm going to use my factor sum chart. I'm going to factor out negative 24 to find a sum of 5. Negative 5, sorry, y'all. All right, so what two numbers can be multiplied together to give me negative 4? But when I add, I get a negative 5. So that's going to be a negative 8 and positive 3. Negative 8 plus 3 gives me a negative 5. So I got 2, right, that I took out. And I'm putting brackets. I'm going to use 2 parentheses. I have x in each parenthesis. I'm going to use negative 8 and positive 3. Okay? So then what I have when I factor is 2 times x minus 8 times x plus 3. I'm looking for these terms, these factors, sorry. So I got 2 in all of them. Then I'm looking for x minus 8. X minus 8 is right here. And I'm looking for x plus 3 is right here. So B is the best answer. Okay? All right. Which of these has a 0 of 7? So look at this. A 0 of 7. So when I do this, my zeros, for this one, I have to factor this out. X in each. I use my factor sum chart. So when I use my factor sum chart, I can use 2 and 5. 2 plus 5 is going to give me the middle number. So I got 2 plus 5. Neither one of these are 7, so that's not going to work. Do it again. X and X. I got 2 and 7 here. 2 plus 7 will give me 9, so I can use positive 2 and positive 7. But when I solve for these and set them both equal to 0, this is going to give me a negative 7, not a positive 7. Okay? All right. Here, x here, x here. Look at this. This is going, I can use to get negative 9, I can use 2 and 7. But they both have to be a negative. So negative 2 and negative 7. So when I add, if I want to solve for this, I add 7 on both sides. X is going to equal to 7. So that is going to be my answer there. Okay? All right. Running low on time. Okay, y'all? All right. So Vertex, you do know how to find Vertex already. If not, just text me and I will show you how to do that one. This one, these are both perfect squares. Okay, so when you factor this to figure out where they cross the x-axis, you have 2 parentheses. 25, the perfect square of 25, the square root of 25 is going to be 5. So you got 5x here and 5x here. The square root of 4 is 2, so you got 2 here and 2 here. Okay, plus, plus. They are the same. So when I set it equal to 0, I'm going to get the same answer twice. So I'm going to get the same x value twice. So that means it only crosses the x-axis at one place. Okay, at that same place. You don't have 2 different answers. You only have 1. Okay? All right, here, when you are trying to figure out what the height is here, you're going to type this into the equation, and you need to find this top point here, okay? So this is the value that you're looking for because it says seconds. So here, y equals, I'm pressed for time, y'all, I'm so sorry. -16, you got x squared plus 38x plus 5, okay? So you're gonna go to your graph, sorry about that. And when you go to your graph, you look at this point up here. All right, so this point right here, this maximum point, your seconds is going to be x is going to be 1.118. That's what you're looking for, okay? Wait a minute, 38x plus, did I type that in right? Determine the height. Oh, what is the height? Determine the height, second after X number of seconds that it hits the ground. Okay, let me go. Hits the ground. I need to go here. All right, it's 2.5. Sorry, it hits the ground in 2.5 seconds. I'm tripping. This is the point that they want to find. Where does it hit the ground? It hits the ground at 2.5 seconds. Okay? All right. And let's see here. Okay. So we got Joseph and Brent. They give you a graph to represent how Brent throws the ball. And for Joseph, they give you an equation, which is y is equal to -16x plus 24x plus 5. Okay? All right. So what they want you to do is to figure out which one of these is correct. So let's look at the graph for him. Okay, let's look at the graph for him. Done with this. Go to y equals and type in -16x squared plus 24x plus 5, okay? And let's graph that. All right, so when we graph that, this is what we get, okay? All right, so we want to compare. It says that, and let's do the initial value here is 8, okay? So he's throwing the ball at 8. The initial value for Joseph is 5, okay? I know because I'm looking at this. Okay, the highest point that the ball goes up here is 12, and it gets there in 0.5 seconds. Okay, and it hits the ground about here. It's in the middle. Maybe this is 1.3-ish. Okay, because this is 1.25 in the middle, so this is about 1.3. Okay, so for Joseph, the highest point is 0.75 up here, 0.75 and 14, and it hits the ground down here at 0.68. 1.68 is right here. 0.68 is when it hits the ground here. Okay. All right, so let's make some comparisons. It says which one's correct. The height from which Joseph threw the ball is 2 feet greater than the height that Brent. It is not 2 feet greater, okay? Look, 8 and 5, no. All right, the ball that Joseph threw in the air is approximately 0.25 seconds more than the time that he threw. No, because this is 1.25 1.3 that hits the ground, and this is 1.68. So that's not 0.25 away. That's more than 0.25 away. Okay, and this is, so that's not it. The ball that Joseph threw in the air was approximately 32 seconds more. That's possible. Let's subtract to see. 1.68 minus 1.3. So when we do that, okay, I'm tripping. All right, do you see that is 1.68 minus 1.3, sorry. And that, yeah, that's 0.38. So this is approximately means about. So that's fairly decent, right? And then it says the ball that Joseph threw went 14 feet. Joseph went 14 feet above the roof of his house, compared to Brent's 12 feet above the roof of his house. So let's see. This is the height of the ground, the height of the ball above the ground in feet. So we're gonna have to go with C on this. Okay. All right. Shelby compared the maximum height. Okay. So the maximum height is this right here. Okay. So to figure out, I'm sorry, this is the maximum height here. Compared to this one right here, the maximum height of this one. So to find the maximum height of this second one right here, to compare which one is which value is larger, you have to find the axis of symmetry first. So A is -2, B is 8, and C is 2. Okay. And then you have to find the vertex afterwards. I mean, you have to find the y so you can get the vertex, that height, that maximum amount. So here, this is going to be a -8, 2 times -2. So this is -8. This is -4. So x is 2. Okay? I'm going to plug in 2 to the equation to figure out what y is equal to for my vertex. That's going to tell me my maximum value. So I have y is equal to -2. I'm going to plug in 2. So that's going to be 2 to the second power plus 8 times 2 plus 2. So there, what that gives me, or I could have just typed this in. I could have just typed this into the equation. Typed this into the calculator and got that height there. Either way you go, your answer here is going to be D. Okay? Either way you go, your answer here is going to be D. Okay? So this is going to give me -2 times 4 plus 16 plus 2. This is going to give me a -8 plus 16 plus 2. And again, this is going to give me 8 plus 2, which is 10. So the maximum height is going to be 10, which is higher than the 9. So we go with 10 there. Okay? All right. And I think this is really, this is the last one, so let me go ahead and do this one. It says, a ball is thrown from the ground at this velocity per second. So that's my B, because that's the speed, right? So this is the equation right here that is given after t seconds. How many seconds does it take to reach to its maximum height? So this is the value that you're looking for. So what you do is you're going to type that into your calculator. Y is equal to, clear, that's -16 x squared plus 64 x, okay? And this, when I graph it, it's going to be up here, isn't it? Oh, Jesus. Way up here. So that's going to be, maximum is 64. So, and this is 2, 64. So the time, the maximum height is 64, but it's in 2 seconds. So your answer is going to be A. Okay. All right, guys. This is the end of the video. Have a wonderful and great day. Love you.